Yo, what's going on, Digi fans? And welcome to another, I guess this would be a deck profile. I really just want to do this for like one of three reasons. One of which I want to show off my new camera. Hopefully it's a lot better than my previous camera. If not, I can always switch back, but this is a new, very much more expensive camera. And the second reason, I want to show off my X-Antibody deck. It's very, very budget, so no crazy like alpha mons or anything like that. Um, so this is definitely very much a budget build of X-Antibody, but as of right now, as of making this video, uh, as of it being Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all of you out there, um, it's actually undefeated. I'm sure that will not be the case for very long, but as of right now, it's undefeated, so I'm very hyped about that. And I'm very hyped to I have a little surprise for you guys at the end of this video. That's going to be hopefully at the end of all my videos here to come. Very hyped about it, so definitely stay tuned until the end of the video. That way you guys can see the surprise. But with that being said, let's jump on into this. All right, so we run the 4 Dorimon. Dorimon basically just says that once per turn, when one of your effects places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, draw 1. So that's going to be super duper clutch actually, because there is a ton of draw power in this deck. You pretty much always see your pieces. I think there was only one time where I didn't see a couple of my pieces, and that's because I got really unlucky and they were in my security, but I still pulled it off. Still pulled off that game. So 4 of those, and then onto the rookies. We run 4 of the Dorumon. 4 Dorumon. Dorumon says, on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with X-Antibody in its traits, and 1 kota among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then it has the inherited ability of, on your turn, once per turn, when one of your effects places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, gain a memory. Also very, very clutch, because if you can't tell, you're going to be doing a decent amount of putting cards underneath your stack, into your Digivolution stack. So you're going to be drawing cards, doing gaining memory, lots and lots of pluses off of doing those things. And plus he's a searcher as well, so the first 2 cards are searchers, more or less, a drawer and a searcher. So then we run 3 Chumon. Chumon's just really good against hybrid. That's all there really is to say about that. Your opponent can't gain memory except by tamer effects, so Bokomon is essentially useless. That's pretty much all that he's there for. Then we run 2 Gotsumon. I like having something that I can just kind of like have out there as a blocker, just to like block anything that's going to be really big. Basically anything without piercing. I like just having a cheap little blocker out there that could like block a damage or multiple damage. So yeah, so if your opponent like swings at you for like 2 or 3 security, right? You just block it with your Gotsumon, and then you're good. So I really like him. He's just a blocker. You're not really going to be attacking with this guy, because if you do, you lose 2 memory. But sometimes you can, but it's really not that big a deal. Then we run 2 Chikirimon. Chikirimon's just really here because if it's in our security, then we can digivolve one of our Digimon, our opponent's Digimon, and that's actually really cool to pull off. You hardly ever see it really, because these guys, you only run 2 of them, and you hardly ever really see it in your security. So I actually like hardly ever even see this card in my hand. Like, it's very elusive. But I suppose it's there for the digivolve and just a free digivolve onto your digi egg and get that draw. So nothing too big. And then we run 2 Bokomon, because we do run the black hybrid cards in here as of right now. When BT8 comes out, we're definitely going to throw in some more of those X-Antibodies. Going to be super hyped about that. But as of right now, we run some of the black hybrid cards, and Bokomon's a searcher for those, and he can gain us 2 memory whenever we digivolve onto our black tamers. Super good, super good. Then onto our champions, we run 4 of the Dorugamon. This is the champion of the deck, and he says, opponent's turn, while you have another Digimon in play with X-Antibody in its traits, or a card with X-Antibody in its traits in this card's Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains blocker. So he's going to be a blocker as well. You usually won't have to use his blocker effect, but it's there. So oh, and also his inheritable ability is all turns while this Digimon has X-Antibody in its traits, it gets plus 1000. So that's actually going to be pretty key as well. You want to get as many of these guys and as many of the ultimate form of this guy in your stack as possible. Then the rest of the champions, we run 4 Grumblemon. Grumblemon is so clutch. Oh man, it's going to be really hard to make a consistent build with when BT8 comes out, I think, just because of how good Grumblemon is. Like, you want Grumblemon. Like, you don't want to see him in your opening hand. Not really. You want your pieces, right? You want your Doru pieces. But man, when it's time for game and you have like 1 or 2 Grumblemon in your hand, bro, it's over. They can't come back. It's just over. He's just a vanilla Digivolve onto your Tamers for 2. Yeah, that's basically it. Digivolve for 2 onto something. It's pretty cheap for a champion and everything. So, and then we have 2 Gigasmon. Gigasmon is probably the least impressive champion that we run. So I'm definitely going to get rid of him when the time comes, but the thought process behind him is that he can digivolve onto Tamers, he can digivolve onto regular Digimon as well, but he's also a blocker for 6000, so that's pretty decent. So that was the thought process behind him, but he's honestly the least impressive. Like, I hardly ever play him. It's really just the Doru and the Grumblemon that I usually play. But yeah, he's there if you need him. Like I said, this is a budget build, and as of right now, it's undefeated. Don't hold your breath as watching this video. It might have already been defeated, but yeah. So Doru Greymon is our first ultimate. It is the key ultimate. Even if you don't digivolve into this, there are ways that you can toss him underneath, and then you can even toss an extra copy of him underneath as well, I believe. Yes, you can. It says, when digivolving, you may place 1 black card with X-Antibody in its traits from your hand at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent effects from deleting it or reducing its DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. So not only can you put in some of your key cards when you digivolve into him, but you can also protect him for a turn to where you kind of don't even really need to worry about anything. Let's see. Effects. So they can attack into him, so your best bet with him, unless you're just trying to be super aggressive, is to just not attack into him or attack with him until you get to your mega form, which can go pretty fast, which is with how much draw power is in this deck. So and then his inherited ability is, while this Digimon has X-Antibody in its traits, it gains +1 security attack. So that's going to be super duper key to the deck. You definitely want as many security as possible, and to have as many +1s or +1000s as possible as well. You want him to be as strong as possible, basically. You want your boss monster to be as strong as possible. Then we run 2 Giromon. Similar reason. His inheritable ability is that he gives +10 or +1000 to the Digimon that he is. So opponent's turn, this Digimon gains +1000. So it's not the greatest, but it's okay. It just makes to where if you attack, then on your opponent's turn he's an extra 1000. So makes him as strong as possible, basically. And then onto the Megas. Right now we're running 3 of the Dorugoramon. Right now we're running 3. I have a 4th ordered. I'm pretty much always see these guys, even though we only run 3. But I do have a 4th ordered, just because these are the only guys that I ever really want to Digivolve into as far as megas. We do run 2 more, but let's go over this effect real quick. It says, your turn. For each card with X-Antibody in its traits, in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains plus 1000. So for every card that you've stacked underneath him, he gets plus 1000 if it's an X-Antibody. So then when attacking once per turn, you may place 1 card with X-Antibody in its traits from your hand at the bottom of this card's Digivolution cards to delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with play costs less than or equal to this Digimon's Digivolution cards. So when you attack with him, you can toss in one of your ultimates, something like that. You could even toss in one of these guys. That would only be to get the play cost of less than or equal to. So that would only be to get to delete pretty high cost cards. But the big advantage is to place the ultimate or the champion if you already have a couple ultimates. The big advantage is to place those with inheritable abilities, making him stronger. And so he's going to be swinging for quite a lot. Usually it's like 3 or more security. It's so good. Because then all you have to do is toss down a couple Grumblemons and you're good to go. But with that being said, we do run 2 more megas, one of which being Blitz Greymon. I just like the idea of de-digivolving. I actually never ever go into him. He can be in my hand and I will usually wait until I get a Dorugoramon, just because I want the Dorugoramon. Like, that's the whole like bread and butter of the deck. So if you absolutely have to, he's an okay one. Like I said, he can de-digivolve, and he's got piercing, so that's good as well. So it says, when digivolving, trigger de-digivolve on one of your opponent's Digimon. So basically just digivolve him and you get to de-digivolve 2 off of a threat. But he rarely comes up, man. I'm telling you, it's all about the Dorugoramon. But he's a very good card. He's got piercing and can de-digivolve, so that's a really good card to have. And it's very budget as well. I think it's like $1, $1.50, something like that. It's very cheap. And then I actually got lucky, so this is like the only non-budget card in the deck. But I have 1 Omnimon Alter S. And truthfully, I never go into this either. I never have to. I never have to. Basically, I have Dorugoramon out there for either 1 turn or 2 turns, and then that's pretty much it. That's usually it. That's usually game at that point. But he's there just in case, I guess. He says, when digivolving, de-digivolve 1 on all of your opponent's Digimon. And then when attacking, you may make this Digimon unblockable for the turn by returning one of its level 6 Digimon cards to your hand. So he can de-digivolve all of my opponent's field, and he can recycle the Dorugoramon if I have another stack over here that I'm working on, and I, for some reason, don't have another Dorugoramon or something's going on. I can just pop him out, use his second ability, and then put him onto the second stack that I've been working on. So that's the idea behind him anyway, but like I said, I never even really get to use him, so. And that's going to do it for the Digimon. Onto the Tamers. We run a slightly large Tamer package, not very large, but it definitely feels slightly large. We run 4 of the Kota. Kota is basically the X-Antibody Tamer. As of right now, BT8, there's another one coming out, so. But he's honestly not as good. Like, he's still pretty good, but he's not as good as Kota. Kota is your memory tamer for the deck. He's going to keep you at 3 memory. And then on play, reveal 4 cards uh, 4 cards of your deck, and then add 1 card with X-Antibody and its traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining at the bottom of the deck in any order. He's just your standard 4-drop search for an X-Antibody. It's either going in your stack or it's going to go onto your Digivolve. It's very, very useful. You definitely want to play it as early as possible. That way you can get as much memory as possible. I will recommend that in this deck you play as many tamers as possible. Like, you can work on your stack, but play as many tamers as possible, because that's how you're going to clutch it. I promise you. You're going to get a lot of security attacks, and then once you get low enough, they get low enough on their security, you're going to drop your Grumblemons for game. It's going to happen. I promise you. So 4 Kota, and then we run 2 Izzy and Joe. Izzy and Joe is pretty decent. It says if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, we usually don't focus too much on our opponent's Digimon, because by the time we're, with all the searching that we do, by the time we get to Mega, they've either just now got to Mega or haven't even gotten to Mega yet. So with all the searching we do, we are hitting them pretty hard into their security, or planning to hit them pretty hard into their security, so we really don't even focus on their Digimon all that much, if at all. So it says if they have 2 Digimon or more, gain 2 memory. Simple as that. They got a couple Digimon, gain 2 memory. Kota puts you to 3, Izzy and Joe puts you to 5. You got 5 for the turn. Let's go, baby. Then it says when one of your black Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer to draw a card. So even more draw power. There is so much draw power in this deck that you are going to find so many of your pieces so fast. And a lot of it being through these tamers, which you're going to use to go into your Grumblemons. So very, very good. Then we run 3 Analog Youth. Again, Searcher. You drop Analog Youth for very cheap, actually, as you see. It's a 2-drop. You search the top 3 cards of your deck and add any 1 Digimon among them to your hand, and then you trash the other 2 cards. You usually don't care. You're usually adding one of your X-Antibodies into your hand and then popping off. He also says, when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Digivolution cards is deleted, you may suspend this tamer. If you do, gain 1 memory, then hatch an egg. So that goes into play as well. So if for some reason, if we couldn't get enough +1s onto our Digimon or something of that sort, for some reason our Digimon is deleted, either our Ultimate or our Mega, if for some reason he's deleted, we gain a memory and get to hatch an egg and start stacking onto that stack immediately. So very, very good. Now onto the option cards. We run a pretty small option card package. It's pretty straightforward, honestly. So I'm gonna do it in the opposite direction, actually. So we run 2 Black Memory Boost for searching. We're gonna search our X-Antibodies. We're gonna get that memory off of the memory boost after it's been delayed for a turn. But we're gonna search for those pieces. We're gonna get that memory. We're gonna pop the F off. And then we run 2 Metal Cannons. Metal Cannon actually doesn't come up too much. Usually by the time you find Metal Cannon, you're pretty much set most of the time. But Metal Cannon basically says that you choose, you choose one of your Digimon with X-Antibody in its traits, then draw 1 for each of that Digimon's Digivolution cards. Simple as that. The top Digimon is X-Antibody, and for every Digivolution card it has, you draw 1. And so a lot of your stacks can actually be very, very big, drawing you very many cards. It can draw you a lot of cards. And then you can just swing and add whatever pieces you want, pretty much. And then the final option card, and the final card of the deck, is Final Zubagon Punch. Pretty much a staple in any black deck, a staple in a lot of decks, actually. What it says is you +3 to your Digimon and until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then if that Digimon has 16 DP, 16,000 DP or more, that Digimon gains Blocker, it gains Reboot, and it gains security attack +1. So with the +1s from your ultimate in your stack, you're going to be getting 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5, 6 security checks in one Digimon. And he's going to get blocker, and he's going to get reboot. So when he stands up, he can block with all of that power that he's accumulated. It's so good. But usually, by the time you do that, you don't need to block the next turn. That's usually the game winner right there. So, with that being said, that's my X-Antibody deck. Super budget, super fun. I'd highly recommend it. I cannot wait until BT8 comes out here. It's very close. I know a lot of you have already gotten your cards in like the UK areas and things like that. But I'm so hyped for it to come out here. I cannot wait to get my hands on a couple boxes. We're definitely going to open up a couple boxes either on YouTube or on stream. So definitely check it out there. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I highly enjoyed this. And I kind of think this is probably my best deck that I have right now. I know I only started playing the game like maybe a month ago, but it's so much fun and I love this deck. Love this deck. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as I promised, here comes the surprise. Peace.
Hi, I'm Ty Kamaya, and you just watched my pal's video on Cord Gaming Digi. Be sure to share with all your friends in the digital world.